ways. So today's mantra that I'd like to begin with a mantra before we get into the movement, and I'll put myself in the spotlight. There we go. Today's mantra is actually a mantra that if any of you have taken Kundalini yoga classes, which is a different lineage than Kripalu yoga, but one that many people have delved into and explored as part of their yoga journey. In the Kundalini practice, they have mantras that they use in the Gurmukhi language, and the lineage of that is out of the Sikh tradition from India. And the mantra that they always start every practice with is Ong Namo Guru Dev Namo. Ong, and it's not Om, it's Ong in the Gurmukhi language. Ong Namo Guru Dev Namo. Ong Namo Guru Dev Namo. And basically that means I bow to the inner teacher. I bow to the source of wisdom that dwells within me, that guides me from within. I bow to that place in me where truth dwells. So it's honoring that ultimately the Satguru, the true guru, is within you. It's a place, a wellspring of wisdom that we learn to tap into, that we learn to awaken into. So I bow to the innate divine wisdom within myself. So I'd like to begin with that mantra, and those of you who want to practice with me, call and response, can do that, or just take it in and let it wash over you. Because today's focus is going to be on that act of bowing. When we bow, it's a gesture of humility, of lowering the egoic mind into the spaciousness of the heart. And asking that the thinking mind, the egoic, rational mind, which has its usefulness for sure, can somehow soften and step aside to allow us to access that higher wisdom, so we can access the greater truth that can't be known with the rational mind. Take a deep breath in, filling all the way up into the chest. Exhale and release anything that doesn't need to be here in the mind, in the body, and in the heart. You are the light that shines through the darkness, beyond space and time. I bow to you, beloved, I am thine. I open my heart, my hands, my mind, my soul, my life to your embrace. Let me dive deep into the ocean of your grace. Om Namo Guru Dev Namo. Try that. Om Namo Guru Dev Namo. Om Namo Guru Dev Namo. Om Namo Guru Dev Namo. Just sing it with me if you can. Om Namo Guru Dev Namo. Om go internal now. You can bring your hands together, palms joined in front of the heart. And in your own way, taking a bow, either just lowering the chin to the chest, or perhaps folding your upper body forward. Physically bowing to that innate wisdom within yourself, the inner guru that dwells within. May that inner wisdom guide us in our practice, on the mat, and in all our words, thoughts, and actions in our daily life. And then as you're ready, I invite you to take your first physical bow, lowering the head to the earth, coming into child's pose. So find your way into a comfortable, supported child's pose. If you need to place a blanket behind your thighs, behind the knees, you can do that. Whatever supports you in lowering that wisdom center, the third eye, to the earth. Gurudev Namo. And begin to deepen your breath and feel the breath filling up into the belly. And then draw the breath up into the chest. Exhale, release chest, ribs, belly. Just take this as a moment of prostration, lowering the head down to the earth, and that gesture of releasing the egoic mind into the spaciousness of the heart and the higher wisdom. And as you breathe deeply in and out through the nose, I invite you to take in these words from Dana Folds. To radiant divinity I bow. To the power and glory of infinite truth I bow. To the moment now, just as it is, I bow. To the elegant expressiveness of nature I bow. To inner and outer beauty I bow. To the music of the cosmos, I don't just bow, I listen closely. Swaying to the melody, I bow to what I cannot see. Here you might want to let your hips just explore moving side to side and find any micro movements in your child's pose that helps invite a little loosening and more movement. Creator, sustainer, transformer, destroyer, I give myself to your endless outpouring of energy, to the harmony underlying all apparent discord. I bow to the river of life and the brief time that I get to bathe in those clear waters. I bow to currents and eddies, rapids and cascading falls, to all that is, the vast and wondrous mystery. I give sincere and awestruck thanks. I bow. And on the next inhale, invite the body to come up into table pose, hands and knees, and find your cat-cow spinal waves. Syncing up your breath with the movement of the spine, celebrating, exploring, breathing deeply into each expression of cat and cow. Taking your time, letting the breath move the body. So we always begin our practice, our movement part of our practice, inviting the 6 sacred movements of the spine. First 2 we explore today are flexion and extension, forward and back bends in our cat-cow spinal waves. Letting the Ujjayi breath brush the back of the throat. Maybe coming up on fingertips to get a little more lift in that cat. Maybe drawing the heads of the shoulders back to get a little more spread in the heart in that cow pose. And then bringing the spine to neutral, hands come forward just a few inches to give you some room to circle your hips, to lubricate the hip joint. Let the circles get bigger and bigger, sending your hips to brush a big wide circle beyond the edges of your mat. And try circling the other way, see how that feels. And coming back to the cat-cow undulations, but taking a little deeper, we'll take it into seal pose. Draw the heart forward in front of the upper arms. Bend the elbows a little so you can find that beautiful, elegant curve of the spine, expanding through the front body. Big toes come to touch and heels draw toward your buttocks. And the pelvis just hovers over the mat. You're coming onto your thighs here. Look up, expand so you open through the throat. Big breath in. Exhale slowly into a cat stretch. And if you'd like to take it back into child, I invite you to explore this flow, coming up through table, taking into your seal. Remember to bend the elbows and draw the shoulders back and down the back body. Big breath, expand through the front body, including the throat. Exhale, round the spine into your cat. And either stay there or take it to sink into your child. Whatever way you want to explore this. And then coming back up into your table pose. We'll send one leg back. I'm going to start with my left leg. You can start with whatever side you want. Curl the toes under and give a little push into the hands to press back through the heel and get the calf muscle to wake up a little bit. And then bringing the shoulders over the wrists again, arm bones stacked. You're going to slide that left foot as far over to the right as it will go. Anchor down through the ball of the foot on all 5 toes curled under. Heel is up, not out to the side. The leg is active and powered up. Take it into a crescent moon stretch, opening, just getting a nice curve through the whole left side of your body. Your right ear comes to your right shoulder, so you get a stretch in the side of the neck and draw the left shoulder away from the ear. So you get a nice expansion and lengthening through the whole left side body. On the next inhale, draw that foot across. Now here's 2 options. You can either come into a hydrant, try to keep your knee at hip height, both arms straight, hips and shoulders level, so you don't want to get lowering down on either side. Or if it's available, press out through the heel like you're going to make a footprint on the wall, keeping the leg perpendicular to the body and parallel to the floor. Big breath in. Exhale back into that side stretch. Expand and breathe some space between the ribs on the left side. Inhale, footprint on the wall or hydrant. Press it out. Exhale, side stretch. Inhale, footprint on the wall, one more time. Really flex that foot, so you're like kicking a hole in the wall. And then exhale, straight back behind you. You're going to take it into table balance. So your left toes reach back, right fingers reach forward if you're on the same side as me. Hips level, feel the belly muscles activate to support this Long horizontal line through the back body. Look down so that horizontal line is through the back of the neck. Inhale, grow long from tippy toes to fingertips. Exhale, forearm to thigh, chin to chest. And take that into a flow, lengthening. Exhale, rounding. Navel draws in. Flow with breath. Lengthening and contracting and rounding. One more time, lengthen out. And then two options here. You can either take it into right hand to left foot bow kick, kicking high and kicking back. You want to get that knee higher than the hip. Or you can take both hands down and just press up through the toes. Try to get the knee higher than the hip level if you can. And when you're ready to release, float that knee back down. Stretch it out into child pose. Here's another bow. Rising back up into table pose. We'll take that sequence on the other side. Press out through the heel. Give a little push into the hands so you feel that stretch in the calf muscle. Let your breath be slow and deep, and enjoy your breathing. Let the shoulders again come over the wrist and slide that right foot as far over to the left as you can. Anchor down through the ball of the foot and find that beautiful crescent moon curve. Left ear to left shoulder so you can feel the stretch and opening through the right side of the neck. Try to get as much of a beautiful curve as you can, and on the next inhale, take it into your footprint on the wall or your hydrant pose. Either way, you want your knee at hip height and in line with the hips. Press out, flex the foot, inhale. Exhale into your side stretch again, crescent moon shape. Inhale, footprint. Exhale, side stretch. Inhale, take that footprint one more time. Big breath in, really give it a press out through the heel and reach back behind you. On the exhale, take it into table balance. Take a couple of breaths here just to steady yourself from your core, get your hips level with one another as best you can tell. Maybe you can look at your screen and see if you can use that as a mirror to decide whether your back body, the line of the back body is parallel. I tend to get my foot a little too high, so I like to check as well. Inhale, lengthen, exhale, contract. Find that flow. At your own pace, let the breath move the body. If you find this is stressful on the wrist, on the hand that you're supporting yourself with, you can always come on to fist if you need to do that. Make it a meditation in motion. And next time you lengthen out, hold here. And then you can take it into either opposite hand to foot bow kick, lifting, looking up as well, so you get the whole lift in the upper body, or both hands down and just press up. And release. And take it into any wiggles and waggles here that help unkink and release. So we've done side stretch, we've done cat-cow. Let's take it into a sequence that also does a side stretch and a twist. So we're going to send the left foot back again. And this time, I'm going to invite you to pivot on the right knee. Take it into a half circle. You can come up onto your right fingertips or fists so you have a little bit more space to reach the hips forward, and some big sweeping gestures. Brush the earth with your fingertips, roll the torso open so your shoulders, heart, belly, hips turn to face the sky. Big breath in, and I love this gesture of saying, here I am, world. I'm alive today, and I'm celebrating that. So if you want to do the ancient mantra that goes with that, some of you know this one, it's woohoo! Reach long and away into your half circle stretch. You can even reach those fingertips down to the mat so you get a nice curve in that left side body. And then release. You're going to pivot on the right knee again. You're going to still keep that left leg back. Press into the left hand. Reach the right hand to the sky. Now you're stacking your right shoulder on top of your left. You're still pressing out through your left heel. And exhale. Come into a hovering thread the needle. So you're going to take that right hand, reach it through toward your left, and just let the right side of the head and shoulder hover over the mat here. You're taking it into a twist the other way. Inhale, now twist, heart facing right. Exhale, tuck that right shoulder under the left and reach. And again, one more time, just warming up the spine in its rotation right and left. And this time, opening up toward the right again. Drop the left hip a little bit more, so you get a little more twist in the low back. And then take it into a bind. Bring the back of the hand to your opposite hip. Or, if you want to take it deeper, slide the fingers, the back of the hand underneath, around the rib cage. Try to reach your fingertips toward your navel. Roll that right shoulder open, look up at the sky. And release, and wiggle it out any way that you like, and we'll take it on the other side. Slide the right foot back, pivot on the left knee, take it into your half circle. And take those sweeping movements, so we're opening through the shoulder. Now on the right side, brush the earth, open your heart, your belly, your hips, everything to the sky. And what's the mantra? If you're alone in your space, just really let it rip. Woohoo! I've been told that the word asana comes from the same root in Sanskrit as to celebrate. So let this be a celebration. And then taking it one more half circle, maybe taking it to a little more of a curve here, tippy toes to fingertips. And release. You're going to pivot on that knee again. That right leg is still pressed back. And take it into your twist to the left. Grow long and wide here. Exhale, tuck it under, reach. Just let that left shoulder and left side of the head hover as your right elbow comes to a 90-degree bend. Inhale, open left, long and wide. Exhale, hover, reach it through, tuck it under. Inhale, open up. Exhale, tuck it under and reach. Now we'll take it into that half circle twist facing left. Reach up, drop the right hip just a little bit more. So we're going to press back through the heel, reach long and away forward with the crown, and take it into the bind of your choice. Either just back of the hand to the right hip, or slide those left fingers right around to your navel to invite the shoulder to roll open a little more. Look up at the sky, and release. All right. Find a prana response that works for you. It could be child's pose, another bow. Actually, let's all take it into child's, because there's one more beautiful practice that I wanted to do, and it kind of slipped by me. So bring your inner thighs together and let the belly rest on the thighs and the forehead down to the mat. Once again, lowering the egoic mind into the spaciousness of the higher wisdom mind. Clasp your hands back behind you. Interlace your fingers. And reach the hands to the sky. We'll take it into a kneeling yoga mudra, known as the seal of yoga. So if you have a an intention or a prayer or a dedication that you would like to make here, and seal it with this posture. You can bring that into your mind and heart. Lifting the hips and rolling onto the crown of the head. Now your thigh bones are straight up and down. Squeeze the shoulders toward one another. Reach the clasped hands to the sky. And if it's available, maybe taking a little massage on the crown of the head. If that feels uncomfortable, you can release your hands and just support your head. So you get a little bit of cranial massage here. It's kind of stimulating that doorway to transcendence. And then coming up into your table pose, spread your fingers wide, curl your toes under, press back to down dog. And take it into your own downward facing dog. Warm up. Think about how down dog is also kind of like a bowing down, because the head is below the heart. Lift the hips high, and one leg at a time, send one heel to the earth, straightening the back of each leg, whatever your exploration is that opens the hamstrings. Activate the core, navel lift in and up, and press low belly toward the thighs. Heart melts down to that place between the feet. Press down and away into the fingers. Lots of long, slow, deep breaths. And if it's available to you to take it into plank on the inhale, firming up your core, firming up the legs, down dog on the exhale. Play with that flow, letting the breath move the body. And then next time you come into plank, we'll lower down in Ashtanga Namaskara, knees, chest, chin. And this is a kind of bow here too. This is very similar to the prostrations that are done in some traditions, like in the Buddhist tradition. A full prostration of the body cultivates humility, cultivates a dissolving of ego. As you lower, often the forehead is lowered all the way down to the ground. This time we're doing chin, but if you want to do forehead, just to get into the spirit of that, you can. And then inhale into your expression of cobra, either baby cobra or full cobra. Some of you might prefer to do sphinx. Whatever is a nice back bend and opening of the front body for you. Hold that for another breath. And then exhale, rounding through cat stretch. Take it back to your downward facing dog. And I'm going to invite you to take a couple more rounds of that sequence in your own way, your own connecting vinyasa. So you could do knee down plank if you need to. Otherwise, plank, lowering down, knees, chest, chin, into that prostration. Inhale, opening into the back bend of your choice. Exhale, find your way into down dog. For some of you, it just might be coming from table into child. Maybe that's the flow you're needing today. So, listen to what your body needs, breathe and enjoy. Make it a meditation in motion. What is it that you are bowing down to today, making an offering to? What part of the mind, the busy mind, do you need to release and let go of? And next time you find your way into downward facing dog, in this inverted V type of bow, take another long, deep breath in through the nose. Exhale through the mouth with a cleansing breath, cleansing, releasing breath. We're going to step through with the right foot. So lift, if you'd like to take it into a three-legged dog, you can either just lift it right high, or you can do your kick-asana if you'd like, whatever flair you like to put into that, before stepping through with the right foot into a low lunge. Root the hips down, soften the shoulders, activate the inner thighs toward the midline, and come into your expression of Anjaneyasana. Low lunge kneeling, also known as kneeling warrior. Reach up through the fingers, down through the hips, lift through the navel. Exhale, clasp hands behind you. Open the heart. Big inhale. And then exhale, fold back into a runner stretch. Here's another kind of bow. Another way that we come into a physical practice of bowing. Leading with the heart, but staying long in the spine. Now you can take this into a flow. Inhale, lunge. Exhale, bow into your runner stretch to invite us. Hamstring lengthening also activates the calf. If you want to take it deeper, you can take that sweeping movement of the arm and arch the back, try to touch elbows behind you, and fold. So you can take it into that gesture of opening to grace, opening to your own higher wisdom. Exhale, bowing, kind of that gesture of thy will be done. Lowering the head to the spaciousness of the heart. And then coming back into your low lunge, we'll take it into a twist. You can start with a press twist, pressing thigh, pressing down the floor underneath your left shoulder, rolling open, get as deep a twist as is comfortable here, and then perhaps lifting the right hand or curling left toes under, lifting up into high lunge, taking it into full revolved side angle. Long and wide, reach out through the crown of the head. So notice if you're letting your head flop. Remember that line of energy wants to go from your back heel right through the crown of your head. Exhale, release, frame that front foot, step it back to plank, flow it through. You're bowing. Maybe right now you're ready for just a lowering the heart toward and the head toward the earth in chaturanga and coming into up dog. You can take that when you're ready. Meet in down dog. And we'll step it through with the left foot, so whatever flare you took on the other side, either kicking butt or just lifting toes high, or maybe you just came down into table and stepped it through, however you want to get it there, into your low lunge. Release the shoulders away from the ears, lengthen through the spine, soften the muscles around the face, inner thighs toward the midline, sweep up, spin the pinkies inward, drop the shoulders, spread the heart. Celebrate being here with breath, with a movement, with this posture, and with the internal attitude that you cultivate. Hands meet behind you, open wide in the heart, let it shine open. And exhale, release, and fold into your bow. From the hip crease, lengthen through the spine, lead with the heart. Back of the neck is long, so play with the angle of the chin, so we don't have a kink in the back of the neck. And either make it a subtle movement of bowing here, just lengthening on the inhale and deepening the heart toward the leg on the exhale, or take it into a flow. Inhale, lunge. Exhale, rock back. Inhale, opening, or the big and bold, opening and offering. And that's really the dance that we move through in every aspect of our lives, is just cultivating our own sense of power and strength to show up in all the ways that we move through the world, but then remembering to cultivate that essential humility, that sense of surrender to higher power, however that is alive for you. Because if we don't have that, then we're just living in the ego. So we need that balance of when to apply ego and when to, you gotta know when to hold them, know when to fold them, basically. as the song goes. Who was that, Kenny Rogers or Chris Christopherson? One of those guys said that. Coming back into your lunge, we'll take it into press twist to start. Stacking left shoulder on top of right, growing long from root to crown, anchoring down knee over ankle, and then take it in whatever variation you did on the other side. Revolve side angle, either knee up or knee down. Big breath in as you grow long and wide. Exhale, release. Send it back to your plank. And take it through one more time, going through your bowing to the earth, opening to the sky, and meeting in downward dog. And then from here, we'll walk or hop the feet between the hands, coming into forward fold. Here's another way that we physically bow in our yoga practice. And it's an opportunity to let go and release anything in the head that doesn't need to be there. You can find your movements of the head, yes, no, maybe, I don't know. Emptying out, letting the spine pour out of the bowl of the pelvis. Maybe bending one knee and then the other to let the back of each leg light up. Making any noises that help you release. Then sliding fingers up the shins, take that half forward bend, Ardha Uttanasana, flat back. Maybe looking at your screen to help you as a mirror, to help you see whether your shoulders are in line with your hips, whether your back is flat. And activate through that core, activate through the front, the crown of the head, reaching forward. Big inhale and exhale, fold again. Another bow. Each time we bow, maybe there's a mantra that you want to invoke with every physical bow, like Thy will be done. Or maybe that Om Namo Guru Dev Namo, I bow to the higher wisdom within myself. May that be the part of my consciousness that prevails. Softening the knees, roll up one vertebra at a time, stacking one bone on top of the other, taking your time, rolling the shoulders back and down, spreading the heart, lifting hands to the sky, reach through right, reach through left, and then palms come together, return to the heart, and in your own way, taking a little bow, lowering the chin to the chest. All right, let's take a little, some side standing postures that open the hips and strengthen the legs. So come into your 5-pointed star from heel to heel, a leg length apart, opening through the heart, expanding in all directions. Now all of you have practiced with me long enough to know how to pivot with the feet to come into side postures like Warrior Two. So you're going to take, if you're mirroring me, you would take left toes, turn it in slightly, turn them in a little past center, right toes turn straight out to the right, and then you bend your knees. You want to be long enough in your stance that your knee is directly over your ankle on the bent leg, opening the hip so that knee goes toward pinky toe, landing in Warrior Two. Inhale, pivot so that toes turn out 45. At the top of the breath, hands touch, and then exhale into Warrior Two, other side. I'm going to invite you to play with that flow just to get that pivoting of the feet, checking to make sure that your stance is wide enough. If your stance is too short, you're going to have a tendency to draw your knee in front of your ankle. So get wide enough so that when you land, you can feel that horizontal line, or the vertical line through the body, through the spine, horizontal line through the heart-lung meridian here, through the arms and heart, and a also horizontal line with the thigh as close as you can find. So flowing side to side. Letting the breath move the body. Making it a dynamic flow. If you want to add a dancing warrior, you can pause for a moment with the same legs without releasing any of that strength in the legs to play with the upper body. Top of the breath, hands touch. Exhale, strongly land in Warrior 2. Inhale, play with your variation of Dancing Warrior. We have lots of variations that you can play with. And next time you come into your Warrior 2 facing your right, hold here, bring your hands to your hips. Straighten the front leg. We're going to have the same alignment of the feet. Heel aligns with the center of the arch of the opposite foot. Hips are open to the long end of your mat. So you're straightening that right leg, and we're going to come into triangle pose. Draw the energy up from the soles of your feet, Pada Bandha. So we're going to draw energy up from the earth right through the legs, lift the kneecaps, engage the quadriceps, feel that lift drawing all the way up through your core, up to the heart and out the fingertips. So the whole posture is powerful here. That firm support of the legs and hips and core are going to support you as you drop the right hip, lift the left hip, keep the body in one plane. So this top hip is rolled open a little. And you want a long line like an arrow from your root to your crown here. So you don't need to go super low, because what happens then is we either arch the spine or we fold forward, and then we lose that sense of being in one plane. Your lower hand can rest on your shin or back of the hand to the calf. That helps get that rotation open so that you're in one plane. Reach long through the heart center here from hand to hand. Feel how the legs are supporting you, the core is supporting you. You're going to use your core more if you have the back of the hand to the calf. You can play with extended triangle, upper arm in line with the ear, reaching long and away. Breathe into those fingertips. You can also play with a bind here, whatever kind of bind is accessible to you, back of the hand to the hip, or grab your thigh. Roll open the shoulder and look up at the sky only if you feel comfortable in your neck. You lengthen out first through the crown before turning your gaze to the sky. Feel that abdominal lift, hold this up. Reaching for the golden cord, let it draw you up. And you can land back in your Warrior 2, and we'll make that transition through star. Exhale, Warrior 2, other side. Straighten the front leg, and we're going to draw the energy up through the soles of the feet, through the lower legs, knees, thighs, up through the heart, out through the fingertips, soften the shoulders. And from here, another way you can do this is bring your hands to your hips so you can just feel the tilt of the hip. It's just a little lowering of the left hip here. And keep that activation in the core. Notice, you want to keep your torso in line with your legs. So notice if there's any folding forward or jackknifing. Notice if you're going into any slumpasana here. So really think about that line of energy moving through the line of the spine and out the crown of the head. Go down as far as you can do that without losing the integrity of the long spine. And then open, either resting on your shin or back of the hand to the calf, long and wide. You're going to roll the top hip back, send the bottom hip forward. Breathe and enjoy. Play with extended triangle when you're ready. Unshrug that upper shoulder, so there's lots of space between shoulder and ear. Breathe into the fingertips. Play with the bind if that served you on the other side. If you don't want to look up at the sky, just look at the horizon. Oh, yeah. And when you're ready, grabbing the golden cord, slowly let it draw you up and land back in your Warrior 2. Opening up into your 5-pointed star, we'll take it right into Goddess now. Root the tail down. See if you can find the angle of the pelvis that flattens the back body as much as possible, as if you were leaning against the wall. You want to bring your thighs as close as you can to parallel to the floor. If you need a different angle, more 45 degrees, that's okay. But you don't want to let the knees to come in center. Don't go knock-kneed. Just take the backs of the thighs and draw them back behind you. Root down into the earth, lift up to the heavens, open your heart, be that powerful, loving, beautiful goddess. Everybody has that goddess in them, whether they are male or female, just like we have the anima and animus. Ujjayi breath here. And then opening up into 5-pointed star, long and wide, pivot on the heels. We're going to take another bow into Prasarita Padottanasana, wide leg forward bend bow. Start by going halfway and just feel the shoulders in line with the hips, sitting bones spread, back of the neck long as you look down. And then come into exploring your forward fold. So that might be hands down under the shoulders, just that gesture of lowering the head below the heart. You can take a block if you need to. I'm going to give you a little bit of yogi's choice time to play in this forward bend, this sense of bowing down, head below the heart. Now some of you might want to play with a side lunge. If your knees are happy with that, you might want to use a block for support. Lengthening one leg, flexing the foot, coming into side lunge. I believe that's called Skandasana. My knees are not happy with this without a little support with my hands under the shoulders. So feel free to do that if you need to. Or you can come into playing with a twist. We've all done this twist before, growing long and wide with a flat back. Maybe you want to come into a wide leg down dog. Just make sure the hips draw back as the hands draw forward. And the heart melts down to that center point between the feet. Your toes are pointing straight ahead now in front of you toward the long end of your mat. So play with your expression of Prasarita Padottanasana and all the variations that you can explore here. And then come back to hands under the shoulders and make your way back into that forward bend, half lift. And heel toe the feet to hip width apart, soften the knees and rise up like the rising sun. Palms come together, draw them down to the heart, and perhaps take that little bow of chin to chest. Let's take a moment of balance exploration. And some of you might find this will be a lot easier with a block outside the standing leg. We're going to do the eagle pose, but the challenge that I'm going to offer you, and this really builds humility because it's kind of hard. I struggle with this one too, is eagle pose with a bow. And that's why the block is going to help you if you feel unsteady there. All right, so most of you have practiced eagle in some way. So start with your mountain pose. You're going to cross one leg over, making sure the hips are going to rotate inwardly, so there's going to be a turning inward of the hips, and the thighs are going to be nice and tight, so no space between the thighs. Now, if you have your foot on the block, then you can support yourself getting down into that eagle pose. So if your left leg is wrapped on top of your right, you want your left arm underneath, coming into your expression of eagle arms. Maybe backs of the hands touch. Maybe you're just going to hug yourself. Thumbs point toward you. Now, if you're coming into the full expression of eagle, you'd either have without the block, you'd either have your foot dangling, or you're going to get down into it, wrap that foot around the back of the calf, really. Now, the bow is slowly folding to touch the forearm to the thigh. Chin comes toward chest. Oh, yeah. Go nice and slow, and if you lose your balance, you can just unwind. So playing with that, you can open your wings and come into crane as a transition to the other side. And if you want to use your block for balance, and you come to step on the other side with the block on the other side of your standing leg. Other arm wraps underneath. And play with it first before you do the bow. Just get steady and comfortable and try to lift the elbows so you get the full exploration of eagle. And then if you're ready, if you so dare, try to bow forward, touching the elbows or forearms to the thigh, tucking the chin, staying steady. See, it does build humility. You can bow a few times, taking it into a flow. And when you're ready, opening up to your crane. And coming down to earth when you're ready. And then just shake out any wiggles and waggles that feel good. I couldn't really see you. Most of you have your screen off, so I couldn't tell if anybody got the bow. But that's the next level of eagle to play with, is once you feel like you have the basic eagle pose, then you can play with doing those movements, bowing forward and lifting up and staying steady. I want to invite you to lower down onto your belly for a little back bend practice. And for some of you, if you're wanting a gentler version of this, you can come into Sphinx, elbows underneath the shoulder, and maybe you'll play with the exploration of putting together Sphinx and seal, maybe straightening the elbows and doing it this way. Maybe you'll place a bolster underneath your lower ribs and use that as a support to come into bow. Those of you who want to come into full bow, first begin by lowering your forehead down. So we take that bow, that bodily posture of prostration, lowering the third eye, the seat of your intuition and higher wisdom, to the earth. Bend the knees, reach back for your feet. And as you lift the knees and thighs, and as you lift the head and shoulders and chest, lifting up and kicking back, notice how this posture is the opposite of a bow. It's a deep back bend. But interestingly enough, it's called the bow pose, which is spelled the same as bow. B-O-W. Breathe, lift and breathe, kick up and back, up and back. And when you're ready to release, slowly float the thighs down, make a pillow with the hands, turn the cheek to one side and let it all go. Any releasing response that feels good, either hips sway side to side or lowering, windshield wiper legs. And bringing the hands underneath the shoulders. Once again, forehead down. You come into that gesture of prostration. Press up. Take a nice cat stretch for the opposite movement. And sink it back to your child. Back to where we began. Om Namo Gurudev Namo. I bow to that source of divine wisdom within myself. And I bow to all the teachers and saints and wise beings and awakened ones who have lit the path for me to follow. Rising back up into table. I'm going to invite you to come into your pigeon pose. You can start with your right knee forward, left leg back. I'm mirroring you. And once you get yourself situated in your pigeon, maybe you'll want a cushion underneath your right buttock for support. I'm going to invite you to play with coming into pigeon pose, any variation that feels good. Some of you will want to take that pigeon bow pose or pigeon dancer, kicking back into your back foot. Some of you might want to play with mermaid pose or just a quad stretch, drawing heel toward buttock. And some of you might just want to play with taking a bow in pigeon, folding over that front leg. So take your exploration, however gentle. Maybe it'll be Sphinx arms and lowering your head to a block. Just want to keep the hips squared and make sure that that right knee is drawing out at an angle toward the right side of your mat. So we begin to open up a stretch, a little deeper stretch in the glutes and iliotibial band, hip opener. If you're coming into an expression of pigeon where your shoulders are stacked over your hips, and then you begin to stretch the psoas muscle on the back leg. Take a few more breaths to explore here. And one of the things that you can do in your pigeon pose is to take a twist. So to take a twist, you would cup your, in this case, your left hand around your right knee, and just place your right hand beside your mat, a little bit in front of the knee. Press into the left elbow, press into the right hand, and you'll feel that spinal twist as you continue to lengthen out through the crown of your head. Enjoy this twist right here, or take it deeper by bringing your right hand into a bind. And maybe if it's available, you could grab your big toe, which is on your right foot on the left side of your body now, and see if you can press into the left elbow, look up at the sky, enjoy that bind. Maybe it'll just be back of the hand to the hip, that's fine. Enjoying that twist, and then releasing. And when you're ready to transition to the other side, coming through table, maybe you want to take a little press back to down dog to stretch the backs of the legs, that's fine, however you want to transition. Bringing left knee behind left wrist, sliding right leg back, knee down, all 5 toes down on that right leg. Square the hips, which is going to mean a slight drawing of the left hip back, right hip crease forward. And place whatever support you need, if you need it, underneath your left buttock, especially if you're going to do any of these variations where you reach back for your foot. Because otherwise you might be struggling to find your center of gravity, and that cushion is going to help support you in finding that center of gravity. So whatever way of exploring pigeon feels yummy for you today, this is where when we do any kind of self-guided moments in our practice, you're trusting that inner wisdom, that inner guidance. Om Namo Gurudev Namo. Or maybe coming into that pigeon, bowing down, whatever you played with on the other side. Sending the breath to any place where there's strong sensation, restriction, or tightness. One way to juice this up a little is to take that left foot and move the left foot up closer toward the right corner of your mat, upper corner of your mat. And you will feel a deeper stretch in your glutes. Ah. If you'd like to try that twist, you'll cup your left knee with your right hand, right elbow underneath the right shoulder. So upper arm bone is straight up and down. Just press into the left hand to get a spinal rotation. Either just straightening the elbow a little or the arm straightens all the way. Press into the right elbow into the floor, look up at the sky. Either stay here or take it into whatever bind was available to you on the other side. See how it feels on this side. Maybe grabbing the toe, lengthen out through the crown of the head, roll that shoulder open, breathe and enjoy. And if this exploration isn't available to you, that's absolutely fine to stay with the simplest, gentlest expression of these poses. And any final inquiry in pigeon here? Hands under the shoulders. And if you pressed back to down dog on the other side, you can do it here. And I'm going to invite you to find your way onto your back. You can hug your knees to your chest, maybe rock side to side. And just take a moment of being upside down. For some of you, you'll want to come right into your shoulder stand and plow sequence. Some of you may want to just place the legs, press the legs up in the air, maybe with a block underneath your sacrum for a supported variation of that. Some of you might want to get into your legs up the wall. We'll be going from here into just a gentle hip opener, so which you can actually do against the wall. So take this as a moment to get into your inversion inquiry here. And in a way, doing any kind of upside down pose where the lower body is above the head is also kind of in the same spirit as taking a bow, because we place the head below the heart. It is said that the mind is a wonderful servant, but a really lousy master. And that's what this is all about. It's not about negating one's intelligence when we say we'll lower, get out of the head, get out of the thinking mind. What it means is that we're cultivating a way of being in the world where we're not allowing only the rational, egoic mind to be dominant. We're coming into a more balanced way of being where we realize that there's another form of intelligence, a higher intelligence that actually connects us with the absolute, with the spiritual realm. and that the intelligence in the mind absolutely has its place. But when we let it run the show, then it's like we have a veil over our consciousness that doesn't allow us to see the whole picture of who we are and how it all is. So I'm going to invite you to transition now out of your upside downness. If you have legs up the wall, you can stay with legs up the wall, and I will just demonstrate here. If you're in legs up the wall, you can come into this next exploration, which is a Baddha Konasana bound angle. You can come from legs up the wall to just bring your soles of the feet together and press your inner thighs or inside of the knees toward the wall. So we just invite a little opening of the hips and just explore that for a few breaths. And those of you who are lying on your mat can come into supine bound angle, in Sanskrit, Supta Baddha Konasana. So, letting the outside edges of the feet rest on the mat, letting the legs open out like a diamond, maybe placing blocks underneath if you need to, just allowing the shape of the body to allow a passive opening of the hips. You can place one hand on the low belly below the navel, one hand in the center of the chest. And once again, touch into that rhythm of breath that is continually moving through you. Letting it be a deep yogic breath. Beginning in the belly, moving into the rib cage, lifting up into the chest. Exhale, chest, ribs, and belly. You are the light that shines through the darkness, beyond space and time. I bow to you, beloved, I am thine. I open my heart, my hands, my mind, my soul, my life to your embrace. Let me dive deep into the ocean of your grace. Gurudev Namo. Om Namo Gurudev Namo. If you're enjoying this posture, you can stay here for a few more moments. If you'd like to transition into Shavasana before we move into our pranayama and meditation, you can release the soles of the feet and slide the feet toward the end of your mat. Turn your palms up. And allow yourself to just rest for just a few moments in corpse pose, Shavasana. And this is also a pose that we do in that same spirit of bowing, of surrender. Gurudev Namo Om Namo Gurudev Namo Om Namo Gurudev Namo Om Namo Gurudev Om Namo Gurudev Namo Namo Om Namo Gurudev Namo Om Namo Gurudev Om Namo Gurudev Namo Namo. Slowly begin to bring some movement into your fingers and toes and deepen your breath. Find any movements that bring you back into your body and allow you to transition to a seated posture. So rolling onto your side, just take your time to press yourself up into whatever posture supports you for seated pranayama and meditation practice. So that could be in a chair, it could be on a cushion with any comfortable cross-legged position that supports a long spine. Some of you might prefer sitting zazen style with perhaps with a block or two underneath your sitting bones. Knees lined up with the hips. The idea is you want your shoulders stacked comfortably over your hips. And you want your low back to be lengthened, and you want your shoulders to be rolled down and back so the heart is nice and wide open. Lengthening up from root to crown. I'm going to invite you actually to suggest we all take a moment to clear the nostrils. So you may want to grab a tissue or a hanky and blow your nose, because we're going to do a little bit of alternate nostril breathing. What we're going to do in alternate nostril breathing is breathe through one nostril and then the other. Many of you have done this with me before, which cleanses and balances the flow of prana through two main channels that run alongside the Sushumna, which is the central channel through which your life force flows. There are two channels that run alongside of the Sushumna, the Ida and Pingala, and they are responsible for the different energetic polarities within us, our inner masculine and feminine, our inner lunar and solar side, our active and passive, our energetic side where we put our energy out there in the world, and the more receptive side. So it's basically different ways of looking at the yin and yang that we move through in our lives. And we want to be able to gracefully flow from being active and being passive, being activating our inner masculine, activating our inner feminine, light energy, dark energy, all of that. We need to be able to flow freely when those different energies are called for. So this practice balances those energies within us, balances the right and left hemispheres of the brain. So take your right hand, I'm not going to mirror you here, so you want to use your right hand, and lower down the first finger and second finger to the base of the thumb. So you're going to have your thumb sticking out, ring finger and pinky sticking out. Turn your palm to face you. You're going to close the right nostril with your thumb, and the left nostril is going to be closed with the other two fingers. So you'll be alternating. Close the right, inhale through the left. At the top of the breath, switch. So close the left, open the right, exhale right. Long, slow breath. Don't worry about the timing right now, just get the rhythm. Same side, inhale. And close off the right with the thumb, open the left, exhale left. Inhale left. Switch, open the right, close the left, exhale right. Inhale right, so same side stays open on the inhale. At the top of the inhale, you switch, exhale other side, exhale left. Same side, inhale left. Top of the breath, switch, exhale right. Inhale right. Switch, exhale left. So the pattern is inhale, switch, exhale, inhale, same side, switch. So just switch on the top of the inhale. And you may notice that one nostril may be more clogged than the other. One might feel really clogged up. That's very normal. It is said that one nostril ends up being dominant for about an hour and a half at a time, and then it switches to the other side. And that has to do with the dominance of the nadis, those channels. It also could have to do with stuff like allergies and colds and stuffy noses as well. If you find that you have a clogged nostril, you can cheat a little by taking your fingers or thumb and spreading the cheek a little bit to flare the nostril, or you can even stick your fingernail inside the nostril to flare it. We won't look. Switching side to side. You can have your eyes gently closed or just downcast, soft gaze. Balancing the right and left hemispheres of the brain. Balancing Ida and Pingala Nadi. Ida is on the left, Pingala is on the right. Connected with the right and left hemispheres of the brain. And those different functions, intuition and rational mind. Just like I said earlier when we were in goddess pose, every one of us has both the masculine and feminine in us. the archetypal energies that are associated with masculine and feminine. There's times for us to be hard and angular and warrior-like, and there's times for us to be graceful and fluid. To be a whole, complete human being, we need to be balanced in those energies. There's times when we need our intuition to be dominant, and times when we need that servant of the rational mind to be active. Next time you exhale through the left side, release the mudra and bring both hands down to your thighs, or you can cup your hands in dhyana mudra, one palm cupped inside the other. Once again, refresh your posture, lengthen through your spine, let your eyes close. Just take a moment to breathe in and out, just naturally through both nostrils, without controlling the breath. We'll just notice the natural flow of breath in and out. Noticing the effects, the calming and balancing effects of Nadi Shodhana, alternate nostril breathing. And just allowing the breath to find its natural rhythm without any manipulation. I invite you to follow, to let the mind follow the breath. Let the breath come to you, and just let your attention gently rest on the in-breath and out-breath, wherever you notice it. And if the mind wanders, or attention is caught by some external stimulus, a sound, a sensation, just notice it and gently bring your attention back to your breathing. It's as simple as that. Meditation is really a practice of returning again and again to whatever the object of your focus is. In this case, the breath. And you can choose to stay with this simple focus on the breath, or those of you who want to layer on a devotional quality to your meditation can visualize as you inhale, opening to Spirit's grace, opening to the gift of that higher wisdom, the wisdom of your own inner guide, the guru within that comes from Source. So opening to higher wisdom with every in-breath, and then with every out-breath, exhale in the spirit of offering yourself to that, letting the egoic mind dissolve into that higher knowing. So the exhale becomes kind of an inward bowing to the divinity of your own true nature. Who I think I am bows to who I truly am, which I have yet to discover. Inhaling higher wisdom, exhaling, bowing to that, letting the mind dissolve into that higher wisdom. Letting the servant bow to the master. And when you're ready, gently open your eyes. And to close our practice today, I would like to, we often end our practice with a bow to one another when we say namaste. So I'm going to invite you to bring your hands together in that gesture of preparing to make a bow. But before we do, I just want to offer you some words, teaching from Plum Village, which is the Sangha, the community of practice in the lineage of Thich Nhat Hanh. And here's something that they say about bowing. When we greet someone with a bow, we have the chance to be present with that person. We do not bow just to be polite or diplomatic, but to recognize the miracle of being alive. Your aliveness and their aliveness. The practice of bowing, whether as a physical or a mental practice, helps us to connect with others as human beings who are just like us in their search for happiness and peace. So bowing to another person is a practice of touching what is real and alive within me and within them. And that is really the meaning of the word namaste. I bow to the divinity and the sacredness in each one of you. So with that, let's offer one another a bow. Namaste.